What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Run Your Race show with your host, Akeem.
And Chanelle.
And we hope that each of you are all doing well. First and foremost, before we get into the show, we want to thank everybody that has taken the time to like, comment, share, subscribe, tune in with us every single week. We greatly appreciate it, and your support is greatly appreciated. So this is part 2 of the Paris Olympics recap. First, before we get into it, just from an overall perspective, what has the games been like for you, just from a spectator standpoint?
Yeah, I think it's been nice to have all these different options on Peacock to tune into all the different sports. I really have just enjoyed watching the athletes do their thing, supporting them. There was a lot of highs, a lot of lows. We saw all the emotions. It kind of took me back to when I was competing at that level and all the things that my journey took me through. But no, it was fun. It was fun to watch all the different sports and see them do their thing.
You know, the worst part about the Olympics season and the campaign for, the 11, 12 days is the fact that after this, like, you still got to go compete for the rest of their season. But from the outside looking in, most people are not going to keep up with it. And I think that's the tough part. So I hope that for those who have been watching, if you're a casual watcher of the sport, perhaps you saw something that will make you keep up with certain athletes and certain sports a little bit better. Obviously, this is a track and field show, so each of you are going to continue to watch and to support track and field as we're going to watch and support track and field, man. But hats off to all of the men and the women in the sport of track and field, but also overall in the Olympics. Whether you medaled or you did not medal, I mean, getting there is a remarkable thing. And, it was good to just watch everything. We were watching everything from track to, water polo, all of that stuff, man. So enough of that yipping and yapping, man. Let's go to the second part of the Olympics, and let's start with probably one of the most competitive fields every single year. You guessed it, I'm talking about the women's 100-meter hurdles. Masai Russell, man, I don't know who her lean coach is, but that individual needs a bit of a raise because she had to lean in the semis and came back and lean in the final to get the win. And she is this year's Olympic champion in a time of 12:33. Samba Mayala, 12:34 to get second, and the reigning Olympic champ, well, I guess now former Olympic champ, Jasmine Camacho Quinn, 12:36. What was your thoughts on this performance right here?
Yeah, we knew it was going to be anybody's day. This is one of those fields every year when honestly any woman in that final can take the win. And so I think everybody was super excited for this race. We knew it was going to be fast. These ladies did not disappoint. 12 threes across the board for all the medalists. And like you said, Masai Russell, she had that lean. They said it in the commentary during the race that she hasn't really won many races this year, but hey, she won the one that mattered, which was the Olympic final. So shout out to her. Like you said, she had that lean. She out-leaned Samba Mayala, and you could see Samba Mayala's emotion. Just getting that medal for France meant the world to her. So kudos to her. She's been your sleeper all year. She's not a sleeper anymore. She's Olympic silver medalist. And Camacho Quinn to medal in the previous Olympics and then come back and get another medal in this Olympics. Not an easy feat. So shout out to her as well.
I think it also goes to show how hard it is, you just said, to double. So it makes, I think there's really, now my information could be a little incorrect, but I believe there's been like 8 or 9 athletes in the sport of track and field that have been able to repeat
as champs.
Yes. I mean, Nafti Tiam, she did it 3 times. So that's just a different level right there. But going back to this race here, man, I got to be honest, man, like Masai Russell surprised me here. Not the fact that, on that American team, any one of them could Americans could have came and swept this whole thing.
Mhm.
You know, I did expect an American to get a medal. I just wasn't sure it was going. I was surprised that it was her.
Mhm.
But man, the way how she comes on over the last 3 hurdles and how she just flings her whole body there, like this is someone who is her top end flat running speed is at a high level right now, and the confidence at a high level right now. And this is going to make her even that much more confident for the next time, because all these women are relatively young and can go to another games
Oh,
if
absolutely.
they so choose. But in America, like nothing is guaranteed. So I don't
Yeah.
want to go too ahead of myself, but good for her. For not winning a whole lot this year, you win at the right time.
Mhm.
And in this event, the women's 100-meter hurdles, man, and I tweeted this. I said you could run these same women the couple days later, and it would probably be a different result.
Yeah.
Like that's how competitive that it is. So for these 3 women, and look at the times: 12:33, 12:34, 12:30. That's a lead.
Mhm.
So hats off to all these women. It was a fast field, and this is the beauty of it. When the best are racing the best, this is what happens. We get excellent performances, and man, Masai Russell, I got to put more respect on you. Not that I didn't respect you before, but man, this is the world of track and field where talk is talk, but when you get the results, you get that respect. And so, very, very, very good race. I mean, Samba Mayala from lane 2 coming over, I expected her to medal. She's been one of my sleepers. Jasmine Camacho Quinn, she talked about, she thought her call was going to get called back because she flinched. And if you go back and watch it, yeah, she flinched hard. When everybody was going forward, she was rocking back and then going forward. So for her to do that and come back and get third, man, these women are executing at an exceptional level. So hats off to these women. Masai Russell, take that victory lap. Samba Mayala, I hope France gives you all of the love and all of the things you desire. Camacho Quinn, what you were able to do at the last games and to come back and do this, it's not an easy feat. Hats off to all these women and every woman that made the final. At least Alicia Johnson hit that hurdle and it was kind of out for her. This is the hurdles for you. You click one, it's very, very, very tough to win. So we would love to know your thoughts. What was your thoughts on this race right here? Let us know in the comments section below. We're going to stick with the hurdles. We're going over to the men's 110-meter hurdles. Grant Holloway, man, sub 13, and that prestigious Olympic gold was his. Daniel Roberts came through, and Rashid Broadwell with the same time of 13:09. Obviously, went to the tenths of a second to see who was going to get that one, but what was your thoughts on this race right here?
Yeah, I mean, it was Holloway's race to lose. And, I think he knew that there was a target on his back. He's been breaking 13 all season. And so for him to handle that pressure, to handle that limelight and to get it done, he looked smooth. He executed well. And you could tell just how excited he was to finally have that Olympic gold, bring that home. So very excited for him. And then for Robert, the race was definitely for silver. And like you said, Roberts got him by the tiniest of margin, but extremely happy for him. Just a nice guy. I like to see nice guys win. And then Broadbell to come in third. Yeah, it was a good race, but it definitely was for second and third because Holloway, he kind of cemented the lead early and kept it. So
Grant's been the most consistent in the recent couple of years, man, and he gets out so well. If you're not with him in that first half of the race, it's going to be tough. Like he does come back a little bit in the last couple of hurdles, but he's always so far ahead that it really doesn't matter. Like he's an exceptional athlete. Like he's one of those generational cats. He can run the 1, he can run the 2, he can run a 4x4. He could probably run a 800 if he really wanted to. Like he's that talented, and for him to be able to do this and to be as consistent, sometimes the favorite don't always win. He seems to handle the pressure every single time at a major championship, but this is different. Daniel Roberts. I mean, him and Grant used to go back and forth, and it seems like they kind of picked up that again. So it was great for him. And Broadbell, I mean, Jamaica had 3 hurdlers, I believe, in this final right here. And, Hansel Parchment was the defending champ. Hansel, great second half of the race, not the greatest first part of the race. But with Broadbelt coming through, it goes to show the level of depth that has started to form in Jamaica. So very good race. Grant, you get the respect, you get the love. I know he always doesn't feel like he is respected, but man, trust me, man. If you ever see this, don't worry about that. That stuff will come, man. You keep winning. The world loves winners, and you are a winner, man. So
well said.
I really enjoyed this race right here. Again, the hurdles, you never know what can happen. You hit one, it could be lights out. Anytime that you can go 13:10, I mean, this was fast, So great run, great race. Looking forward to seeing what's going to happen, not just in 4 years, but they're going to meet again at the Diamond League in a couple of weeks. It ain't over yet. You know what I'm saying? There's going to be some get back for a couple athletes. But let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Let's keep things pushing. Let's move up a little bit, going back to the sprints and the men's 200 meters. Yes, that is not a typo. That is not Noah Lyles. The favorite, this was Letsile Tebogo. I mean, you see the time. Kenny Benerick, second place. Noah Lyles, third place. What was your thoughts on this race right here?
Yeah, what you just said, we're going to see some more matchups in Diamond Leagues that are to come. This is a race where I would like to see Tebogo and Lyles go at it again in the 200. Hopefully we do get to see that. Tebogo's win was a little overshadowed by Lyles saying he had COVID. So I don't think Tebogo really got the respect that he deserved. But no matter what Lyles was dealing with, he showed up on the line to run that day, and Tebogo was the better man that day. And so we have to give him all the credit. He looked amazing. I don't even think he ran through the line. So he is our Olympic gold medalist, no matter what was going on behind the scenes with anybody, right? So if Lyles did have COVID, for him to show up and run 19.7 is still pretty impressive, and I do want to see those two go at it again at one of the Diamond Leagues. So just so the asterisk that is by Tebogo's win can be removed. You know what I'm saying? So, and then but Benerick, good run. Tebogo was just better. It's that simple. But he goes home with the silver. So
yeah, I get exactly what you're saying. When you're talking about the asterisk, got a couple thoughts here, man. They were talking about Noah Lyles, and his coach was saying, man, he had 102 fever going into that race, and all these different things, man. And I get all of that, absolutely. The man came out that he was sick, he had COVID. But I'm from the world where if you show up, you are 100% healthy. I'm not trying to hear none of that, right? Because nobody cares about any of that.
Mm-hmm.
If you show up to race, you're healthy. Nobody wants to care about all of that. And it makes it worse when you say, oh, yeah, but I was sick. Well, why'd you show up? Mm-hmm. The other thing, too, for me is just how did he get away with being in the race when he had COVID? Mm-hmm. I personally think if it was anybody else, no chance they would have been there. Mm-hmm. Something would have happened and they would have said, no, you're not doing it. Mm-hmm. I could be wrong. That's not your thoughts, but that's just how I feel. Mm-hmm. But all that aside, again, just to clarify, if you show up to the line, I'm assuming you're 100% healthy. I don't want to hear none of that excuses, even if it is valid, mm-hmm. Because as you said, it does take away from the fact of what Tebogo was able to do. Now, that's my thoughts on that. Now, to Noah Lyles running 19.7 with COVID, that's impressive. With COVID?
Yeah.
19.7 with COVID, 102. That's impressive, man. That is a massive win by itself, mm-hmm. Because now you have the other competitors, and shout out to all of the competitors. You had two Zimbabwe athletes as well too. Wow, that's what I'm talking about. But it goes for the level of athlete that Noah Lyles is to be able to still run sub 20 and get a medal when you have COVID, 102. That's impressive. Mm-hmm. Kenny Benerick, man, I think he thought he won that race because coming off the curve, he couldn't really see anybody. It was just him. And I was like, yo, this guy's moving. Mm-hmm. But as you said, it just wasn't time. It just wasn't your day. Like you have a guy like Letsile Tebogo. Honestly, if he would have ran through the line, I think that's 1935, 1934. There's still more left in him. And a lot of people were saying, especially I'm sure Noah Lyles believes it too, if he's healthy, there's nobody beating him. But me personally, I don't think that was true. I think on this day, I don't think anybody was beating Letsile Tebogo, because to me, and we talked about this on the way to church and after Union Charlotte, we talked about if Letsile, his personal best was in the 9.8 category, right? And in this race, he ran around in that same ballpark, new personal best, but he had run 9.8. Noah Lyles had a 9.82, but he pushed the threshold and run 9.79. And so I don't think his body would have been able to recover as quickly to come back and to run 19.2, 19.3. I just don't think that would be the case. I don't think even if he had a 19.3 in him, Letsile would have had a 19.2. I just feel like it was just his time and he was just ready, so it was an incredible performance, man, incredible race. I mean, I want to see Letsile Tebogo go through the line and lean at the line just once this year. He hasn't done that yet this year, especially in the 2. So it was just an incredible performance, man. It was overshadowed a little bit by Noah Lyles. I don't think that's fair. But in life, nothing is really fair. So it is what it is. But on the Run Your Race show, man, we're going to give an unbiased approach. And shout out to Letsile Tebogo, man. It was your time. And this man is 22, 23. And he's got so much range. Who knows what he's going to do at the next Olympics? I read an article. He was like, I might just run the 4. I might just do the 1 and the 4.
Sky's the limit for him, man.
So it was an incredible race, incredible execution, man. And hats off to all of these men. The whole field ran very, very well. But to the medalists, hats off to you. And Letsile Tebogo, man, if you ever see this, man, I'm sure your mom is looking down and she is extremely proud of you, saying, man, that's my son. But, most parents don't really care about the athletic side, So let's keep things pushing. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section. Let's go over to the women's 400 meters. My goodness, what a race. You have to go sub 50 to even finish 8th nowadays. Paulino is our Olympic champ, 48-17. Nasser is back. I think Nasser is, the 4th or the 3rd fastest woman. Like, she ran 48.0, but she's back. Kaczmarek did what she had to do. She had to dig to get the medal, and she brought home that bronze medal to finish up a consistent season. What was your thoughts on this race right here?
Yeah, I mean, dominating performance by Paulino. I think people are ready to see her and Sydney go at it in the 400. And we'll talk about Sydney next. But she just dominated. And like you said, Nasser is back and she was there, but it was Paulino's day. And Kaczmarek also to run 48, and no one in the field ran 50 point anything. It was a fast race. One of those races where in earlier the season, we weren't really sure if this was going to be how this was going to go. No one was really running that fast except for Sydney. And so, and a few of the collegiates, but they shut us up because that was a fast final, and shout out to all these medalists.
I think Paulino was in 47 shape because this was another race where she kind of shut it down a little bit. The last 10, 15 meters, it's like she looked up and was like, okay, I got this right here. And she was pulling back when she crossed the line and still ran 48-17. So this was an amazing race. I mean, this has to now for our track and field statisticians, this has to be the fastest race ever. I just don't know. Nobody went over 50 seconds.
Yeah.
And this was great. And Paulino has really evolved as a runner because she's changed her game plan, her race pattern a couple times. Sometimes she'll take that first 200 a little lackadaisical and then kick.
Yeah.
But now it's like she's working a little bit harder in the first 200 and then finding another kick in that last, coming off the curve at 3. And then she just kicks and holds.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly she's strong.
Mm-hmm.
But now she's got the experience and the IQ in the sport to know what to do and how to gauge it. I mean, I personally think she's in 47 shape. Will we see it? Maybe not this year. She doesn't have to use that bullet. Nasser, I mean, shout out to you for what you were able to do. I mean, after the time that you had to take off and then you came back, and she didn't start the year off the greatest, but she sure finished it excellently. She's not a tall woman. I think she's like 5 foot, you know, but she is moving. Like, the turnover is crazy. And so for her to do this, man, it's going to make the 4 even that much more interesting with who we're going to be talking about next when she's coming to the 4. And Kaczmarek, you know, she's been extremely consistent all the way through. It's always good to see consistency rewarded. And she's been super consistent. You know, another sub 49 for her. It was just a really good performance from all of these women. The whole field, I am really, really like impressed with the whole field. Sub 50 is just crazy to me. I can't get over that. But really great performance, high execution, man. And shout out to all these women. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Let's keep things pushing to the women's 400 meter hurdles. Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone did what she does and what she's been doing and lowering her world record again, running 50:37. Anna Cockrell 51:87, and Femke Ball 52:15. What was your thoughts on this performance here?
Yeah, I think we're getting a little spoiled with Sydney. I think we're taking her performances for granted because every time she steps on the track, it's a new world record. But we can't, like, it's a world record. Like, what she's doing is a once in a lifetime thing, and I think sometimes it's just expected, and she does it, and it's like, oh, that's just Sydney. But like 50.37, like that is. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, when you really sit and think about it, it is absolutely out of this world, and she deserves her flowers, and like, she's just incredible. She is a once in a lifetime athlete. Ball tried to go with her for, you know, over half the race, and she said that it just bit her in the butt. Like, she couldn't hold that pace. And so Cocker was able to get Ball towards the end. I don't think a lot of people expected that. I know most people did not expect that. And so shout out to her to go sub 52, 51:87. That wins in previous games. You know what I'm saying? And I hope Ball keeps her head up because she tried. She went out hard and they were neck and neck. And so you could tell she was disappointed. But I hope she knows that, you know, she went for it and she should be happy about that bronze medal. But yeah, Sydney is just, I'm almost speechless because it's out of this world what she is able to do every time she steps on the track. And I hope that we as viewers stop taking it for granted.
Yeah. And I think you said it best with Femke. Like, you know, she gave her all with that pace, but then you mix that with all of the rounds that she ran before that too. Like, Sydney was fresh. Like, she's hard to beat enough when, you know, maybe her legs are tired, but when she's fresh, you just don't stand a chance. Mm-hmm. So it would be interesting to see what Femke Ball could do if that was her only focus. Mm-hmm. So she tried to go with Sid, but I think her legs was just, and honestly, it wouldn't have mattered. Like, even if she was fresh, like, I just don't think anybody can keep up with Sydney right now. And I don't think anybody can keep up with her probably for another decade. By then she'll be done, you know, because there are certain athletes, and you were one of this, certain athletes don't come around every time. Like, Usain Bolt doesn't come around it's just, sometimes you have athletes who may have physical advantages, right? But then they may have, you know, certain things that not other athletes can do. To be able to hold your stride pattern as fluid as Sydney can, mixed with the turnover and the speed that's embedded with her, mixed with the ability to put everything all together, man, it's just tough. 50-37, like there are people who don't run the four hurdles. That's their flat personal best, and I think I like what you said, where we cannot take this for granted. We should not take this for granted, but many people will take it for granted. And until they leave the sport, will you really realize how incredible that they were? This is a record that I don't think is going to be broken other than the one that said it, personally. So she's a once in a lifetime athlete. She's got a lot of range, and she is in her prime right now. Now, the tough part about this is most athletes will figure out, and you and I were talking about this, and it's like, it's a great thing, but also like it can be like a slightly depressing too. You don't have a lot of these years where every time you're touching the track is record breaking. There's going to be some times when it's not record breaking, and then it goes to thirds and injuries happen and stuff like that. So I say that because when we see performances like this, and especially the athletes that we like to see, we just got to appreciate it, because they're not going to be around forever in the sport. It's just an incredible performance. I mean, what can you really say other than that's amazing? She looked great. She looked smooth. It looked effortless, and she dug to get it. So incredible performance, man. Anna Karko, shout out to you. Run your race. No pun intended. Run your race. And performances like this happen. We know what it means to these women. But it's just another incredible performance, man. Another record that she continues to smash. It's just, man, and we're going to talk about her a little bit later again. But incredible race, incredible performance. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Let's go over to the men's side, the men's 400-meter hurdles. It seems like these three names right here are always like they're going to be connected for years to come. Rai Benjamin, Karsten Warholm, and Alison Dos Santos. You'll see the times below. But, man, it seems like that win for Rai meant a whole lot. What was your thoughts on this performance here?
Yeah, this was one of the more highly anticipated. Everybody was looking forward to these three duking it out. You asked one person, they picked Warholm. You asked another, they picked Rai. You asked another, they picked Dos Santos. So everybody had a different person who they thought was going to win. But Rai came through with the win. Like you said, you could tell it meant so much for him. I heard in one of his interviews, he said he just chilled out a little bit this year in terms of just had fun with it, and I think that's an important message. Like a lot of times athletes do run well when they are enjoying it, and that's not everyone. Some people can still do it and not enjoy it, but a lot of people I know, they perform at their best when they are enjoying the sport. And it I'm happy that he's enjoying it, and that that he got the win. I think you and I both picked him after we saw him in Monaco. We thought, I think Rai's going to do it, but he still has to go out there and do it. and he did, and so shout out to him. Warholm and Dos Santos, incredible races by them. These times are fast, but it also goes to show how fast Tokyo was, because Tokyo was even faster. So, but yeah, just extremely happy for Rai. You could tell how much it meant to him.
Yeah, and what's interesting is each of these men have individual titles, like a gold.
Yeah.
World champs, previous Olympics, and now this Olympics for Rai Benjamin. I mean, he looked smooth, very consistent over the last this season. Looked very consistent, looked confident. And I think that was the biggest thing. I also read this article that he said, man, after the Tokyo, he was just like, it messed with his head because he couldn't fathom, like, how can I run that fast and get second?
Yeah.
And maybe you've had some races, but there were some races where it was a race where I ran like 10:06 and I got like sixth place. And I was just like, I don't understand. As an athlete, you always expect to win the race. Even if you don't have the fastest time, you got to go in confidently. But then there are some things where you run your best and your best may not be good enough. And then it makes you question yourself, where do I go from here? And that can be a tough question to ask yourself. because it comes with, do I keep going or do I just stop? And it seems like Rye took that, and with what you said, took some time off and went back to having fun.
Mm-hmm.
And for those looking in, you might say, what's Chanelle talking about? Just having fun. Like, man, it's a business. And when you're not doing good business and you get deductions in your funding and you get hurt, and it becomes heavy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's never good when sports is heavy. When it's fun, you run with a lightness and a joy. And that's definitely what Rye looked like, and it showed on the night. Again, like, it goes to show, as you said, in Tokyo, these guys are in different shapes, but when they're locking and loaded, these guys are all capable of running 45 seconds. So hats off to all of these men and for what they were able to do. I have a feeling, that we're definitely going to see these guys going out again, and this result might be different going into the Diamond League in a couple weeks here. But incredible performance. Let's keep things pushing. Let's go over to the men's 800 meter. We knew this was going to be fast, and it absolutely was. Manuel Wignoni, 141.19. Marco Arop, 141.20. Sajati, 141.50. What did you think of this performance here? What did you like? What didn't you like? Let us know.
Yeah, I liked how Wignoni took it out. I know it's hard to win a race wire to wire, especially an Olympic final. But like you just mentioned with Rye, that confidence.
Yes.
Sajati, we always kind of see him in the back, and so that he stuck to that race plan. But it didn't work out this time. His kick just could not overcome Wignoni and Arop. Arop almost got him. I said if the race was a little bit longer, a few more meters, we might have saw Arop take the gold. But Wignoni, 20 years old, and still many more Olympics to come. So I think that world record that everybody so desperately wants to see taken down, these three men in the right scenario with a rabbit, that world record may be gone. But incredible race, very, very exciting. I was yelling at the screen for him because I just like to see people when they become the sacrificial lamb and take the lead. I like to see them come away with the win. So I was like, lean, and he ended up getting it. So it was really exciting.
Yeah, and you're someone that goes wire to wire, so it means a little bit. Wignoni's turnover is really quick. We know Sajati's turnover is really quick. Marco doesn't have that same turnover, but he's longer. He covers a little bit more ground. This was just a fast race, man. Wignoni had to dig deep, and Marco Arop just had to try to go with him, and he almost got it done. I personally think if Sajati changed his tactics a little bit and could pull in a little bit closer, it might have been a little bit different. But he also probably thought, these guys are rolling right now. I got to time myself a little bit better, because he's been he's beaten these guys all season. But it goes to show, man, you might beat them in the regular season, but you got to beat me on the day.
Yeah.
Because going into the day, nothing else matters but the race today. And again, this is probably one of those races like the women's 100-meter hurdles, where you could race 3 days from now and this result might be different.
Yeah.
So it was just, I like seeing fast races. I just want to see a fast race.
Yeah.
I don't want no tactics behind it. I just want to see fast race, and they definitely delivered. So this was a good race. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Let's keep things moving to the women's 1,500 meter. What did you think about this race?
A race is fast if Kipyegon doesn't take off with the leaders. She kind of held back, and we saw why she held back when Gudolf Sagai crossed the 400 and it said 59 seconds. And I'm like, okay, that's why Faith is holding back a little bit, because 59, that is too fast. To put it in perspective, the Keeley in the 800 came through in 58.
Wow.
So now you're running a 1,500 coming through in 59 seconds. It's too fast. And Faith knew that. She held back and saved her kick. And if you 9 times out of 10, Faith is going to outkick you. She wasn't able to do it in the 5K, but here in this 1500, which is her favorite race, she was able to kick for the win. Extremely happy for her. And then for Hall and Bell to come through with silver and bronze. Bell, they're saying Bell took 5 years away from the sport. It came back and now is training in Keely Hodgkinson's camp. And so for her to come out and run, I mean, this is a record for Great Britain, a bronze medal after being away from the sport for that long. That's incredible. And then Hall, she's been consistent all season. So you said it earlier, it's nice to see consistency pay off. So great race, fast race, a little too fast for those women who went out with Gudoff, but they'll learn and they'll come back stronger. So
I don't know what my girl Gudoff was doing this week. Something was off, but no excuses for her. I mean, I would be interesting to hear about the story of Georgia Bell, man. I mean, why did you take 5 years off, and what did you do during that 5 years? Were you training well? It seemed like you were training well.
Triathlon, duathlon, something like that. So she was fit. Yeah.
I mean, this is incredible. National record after taking 5 years off, but it goes to show with the right mindset and a group and a coach that believes, like, what could happen. Mm-hmm. I mean, Hall, she hung on to Faith in a Diamond League meet. Mm-hmm. So this was great to see that, she can still hang on to get it done. But it's just like, I mean, I was not expecting it to be this fast personally, because, we kind of thought I kind of thought, is Faith going to go for the world record again? But she broke the Olympic record, so it was just a fast performance. I mean, Faith you can see how much it meant to her after she crossed the line. And it's like, yeah, she was the favorite, but maybe there was something attached to this as well, too, because she was reacting as if she had just won it for the first time. Well, she lost the 5K and then the medal got taken away. Yes. A lot of emotion. You see, when you make someone angry, you come back and do that. So emotionally, she was spent. So to come back into this, to calm down the emotional, to put that into the physical, it makes it even that much sweeter. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't have much to really say about that. I mean, you covered it beautifully, but this was just fast. Shout out to all of these women, man. This was a very, very excellent run. Let's keep things pushing. Let's go over to the women's 4x1. Your country took it. Great Britain and Germany. What was your thoughts here? Yeah, I mean, good race. I'm not sure where Sha'carri got the stick. It was hard for me to tell, but I saw that look over her. And, she was feeling herself happy. You could tell how much it meant for her to go home with a gold after getting the silver in the 100. So, good race. I don't have much to say. I'd rather hear your thoughts since this is up your alley. From my angle going into that last stretch when it was the anchor leg, man, Great Britain fumbled the exchanges a little bit. They messed up a couple exchanges and they caught them, they ran really well. I personally think if they would have nailed that last exchange, I don't think Sha'carri would have been able to catch it. Okay. Because Daryl Nita was moving. So if they did not slow down the momentum in their exchange, I think it would have been Great Britain, USA, and Germany, in my opinion. But that wasn't the case. USA won, man. When you have an anchor leg like Sha'carri Richardson, I mean, when she's upright running and she's 100% healthy, and there's not many women that's going to catch her. Mm-hmm. And she's always looking over. I was wondering why she does that. I get looking over in the heats, but every time, but her top end, America's got a great team. You guys always do, all great forward legs. Melissa Jefferson opened it up very nicely, but that anchor leg is very, very important. And when you have Sha'carri there, man, it's a nice safety net to have if things aren't going so well. Those are my quick thoughts. Let's go to the men's side. A little bit more thoughts here. My adopted country of Canada, they won. South Africa second, Great Britain third.
No USA.
What was your thoughts on this performance here?
Oh man, this one was a bit disappointing, of course. Um, we just can't really seem to get it right. And that's been what everyone's saying online. What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? I don't know. I run the 800. I don't know what's going on. And I'm not going to call anybody out and point fingers. It was ugly. That first exchange, what something wasn't right. I don't know. Something wasn't right. You could tell the people technically what it was, but from a distance runner, even I could tell something wasn't right. And so is that a coaching error? Is that an athlete's error? I don't know, but it wasn't pretty. There's no reason why with those four men we shouldn't take home the gold, but it goes to show it's not just about having the fastest men. It's about the chemistry. It's about the technical aspect. In Canada, the chemistry is there. They run the same four men every year, right? And technically it was sound, and they were the best team that day. And shout out to South Africa. Is it Simbini?
Yeah, Connie.
Yeah, I mean, gosh, his anchor leg was insane, and then you could tell how much it meant for Great Britain to get a medal as well. But yeah, USA, we've got to figure it out. But it's more for people who don't really understand. It's more than just having the fastest athletes. It's about that chemistry and the technical aspect of passing the baton, and that's where we mess up every single year. So
yeah, in most cases, when you look at the paper part of things, America should win almost every year. You guys have the fastest sprinters, quadruplets of sprinters, but that's not always the case. I mean, back in 2016, like the Japanese beat us, and they didn't have four faster legs than us, but their exchanges were sound, and there was no wasted motion, and they hit all of their exchanges towards the back end of the exchange zone, and that means that they're stretching everything out. But that's also risky. But
yeah.
if you want to win and run fast, you got to take that risk. And you could tell something was wrong. He left early, and when you leave early, man, it's very hard to fix that because if you leave late, you can build momentum. But if you leave too early, the momentum is stopped and it's dead. And so it makes it tough to do anything after that. But that's one lane. In the other lanes, the race still goes on. Britain was still there. South Africa, I mean, Akeem ran in this game, I believe, the second fastest split. I think he ran like 8.8 something.
Wow.
Andre ran 8.8, I think, as well, too. But, I mean, if it was like 110, man, they might have got that one. But you got to give credit to the Canadians, man. But here's the thing that I don't think people understand when you look at the history of things. These were the world champs with the same group. So chemistry in a relay absolutely matters. You got to have foot speed, absolutely. But if you have the right amount of chemistry behind it and your exchanges are smooth and you're not slowing down the stick, things like this happen. And so shout out to the Canadians for what they're able to do, man. I mean, we got a bronze in Rio. They got a gold in World Championships. And now they got a gold at the Olympics. I think they got a silver at the Tokyo Olympics as well, too. So they kind of completed the hat trick over the years. So it was just good to see, man. It was a good performance, high execution with the stick exchanges, very well done. And again, America got to go back and fix a couple things. And there's a couple ways that you could blame. You could say it's the athlete's fault, or as an organization, you can say, I didn't put those four men in the best position. I personally think if Noah wasn't running, you leave the first three and just put Kenny on the anchor leg if that was the case. But in all honesty, that same group ran 37.4. Canada ran 37.50. So they possibly didn't even have to change anything. So you guys got to go back and fix that. It's got nothing to do with me. Shout out to the adopted country of Canada, man. Shout out to Three of my former teammates, and of course Jerome, for what they've been able to do, man. Very nice work. Let's keep things pushing. Let's go over to the women's 400 meter. There are a couple things in the track and field space that is certain, and one of those is women's 4x4 getting a gold.
USA?
Yes.
Yeah.
What did I say?
You didn't specify which country.
I'm ahead of myself. What did you think about this performance?
This one was funny because you were watching and you said, this is embarrassing. The rest of the world should be embarrassed.
And I'm rest of the world.
I mean, those splits, almost a world record. I don't really have much to say except for just pure dominance. I mean, Sydney busted that second leg open and it was over. It was over. You could have put me on the third leg. We still won. I mean, that's how much of a lead that Team USA had after Sydney McLaughlin ran her 47. I was actually, and I don't know why I was worried, but when I saw that she wasn't the anchor, I said, oh my gosh. You know, Femke can catch anybody. It's Femke. Why wouldn't they anchor Sydney? I was wrong. Sydney busted that thing open and it was over. And like you said, it really kind of was embarrassing for the rest of the world how much of a lead Team USA had. I think it was like 4 seconds. That's insane. You know, but the thing is, the other countries ran extremely fast as well. So we say it's embarrassing, but it was just it was a race that I will never forget. That was beautifully done. You know, Gabby Thomas now goes home with 3 gold medals. A little controversy there. You know, why was she on it? I don't know. It worked out. You know, there are some 400 meter women from Team USA who seem to be upset that they didn't have that spot. I get it. I get both sides. Yes. But at the end of the day, they got the gold, and that's what Team USA is going to say, that they're going to say that's what matters. You know, we won. And so, but yeah, it was just funny to see your reaction as we were watching the race.
And it's like embarrassing in a sense of like, and I hope it's not like, doesn't come up as like a negative kind of thing.
Right.
But I just mean like, these are the best athletes in the world. And a lot of these women are 400 meter runners, you know? And so when you see a lead with 4 seconds, it just looks bad. But like, these are fast times. Mm-hmm. I forgot who it was. I don't remember which team crossed the line, but I think they medaled. They might have been one of the athletes. And they looked over at the clock and it was just like, I mean, we go back to Sydney. Sydney ran 47. No one else ran 47 in this whole thing. Femke did when she ran the mixed 4x4, but her legs were shot at this point.
And she still, her legs were shot, but she still got the Netherlands a silver medal because she was not in medal contention.
So all of the women ran well for USA, but once Sydney cracked open that race, man, it was like, oh, it's over with. You know, and one thing USA is not going to do more times than not, because I gotta say more times than not. In the women's relay, 400 meter relay, they're not going to give up that lead. But it would be interesting to see if Sydney was not on that team, because now you take away that 47 leg.
Yeah.
Would it have been closer? I still think Team USA would have won. But it just goes to show that, man, you know, you're talking about, you know, Sydney and Femke. They were probably thinking, man, if we can just crack this thing open in the first 3 legs, with the first 2 legs, it's going to get – I think they wanted to give Gabby a good enough lead because they probably weren't sure where she was at, you know. So, yeah, I don't have too much to say about it. Shout out to all these women. Shout out to my former training partner, Jody Williams. You know, she is an Olympic bronze medalist. She ran there. She ran well, you know. So, just incredible race, man. 3:15 to 3:19, something like that. It's crazy. Let's keep things going to the men's side. This was another incredibly fast race. 2:54 gets you second place. That's crazy. USA, Botswana, Great Britain. What did you think about this?
Thought Let's almost almost had it. How he was able to run, what was it, 43 flat?
43.03.
After all he did and the emotion and emotionally, mentally, physically drained and to almost run down Rye Benjamin. I mean, this kid is off the charts. But shout out to Rye because it is hard to, I think it's easier to be the hunter than to be out in front. Yeah, I say I'd rather get the baton behind. Don't be, yeah. When you know that Let's See Tebogo is behind you, you have to keep your composure. Rye didn't go out too quick. He ran his race, even though Let's See was coming after him. When Let's See pulled up on him, he kept his composure. That could have easily gone a different way. Absolutely. Rye could have easily broken. We've seen it before. We've seen America's top 400-meter runner get run down. And so for him to keep his composure, I read that he barely got any sleep after winning the 400-meter hurdles the night before. He's exhausted emotionally, mentally, physically as well. And so shout out to him for keeping that lead and also running an incredibly fast leg. That was a very, very good race. And then Great Britain in third. Just a really, really entertaining race. Not as dominant as the women's 4x4.
Yeah, the world has been catching up with USA in some forms. But I also saw this list of the fastest 400-meter splits, and there were 4 of these athletes that was on this list. It was Let's See, his 43.03. I think Matthew Hudson Smith also ran 43.08.
Wow.
Rye Benjamin 43.18, 43.17, and Samu Kanga.
Oh,
18 as well too.
I thought you were going to say Vernon Norwood.
Yeah, I mean he ran some ridiculous legs as well too.
All Olympics.
Shout out to you, JUCO in the house, man. But I mean, and you were saying this as well too. You're like, Rye should be able to hold it because you're thinking is the 400-meter athlete, is the strength. Let's say Tebogo, yes, he can run the 4, but he doesn't really run too many throughout the year. He's more of a 1-2 guy. And you're like, he should be able to hold it, but you just said, wait a minute, this man, he's not going away. So this was an incredible performance, man. All of these men ran really well. It just has to be one of the fastest 4x4s as well, too. So hats off to these men, man. I mean, this was an incredible performance. And I don't like running. I don't run many 400s, but I would run 4x4. I like watching some 4x4.
Yeah.
There's nothing like it, man. This is coming from a short sprinter. So let's keep things pushing as we wind down to the coming parts of the show. A couple field highlights. Tara Davis-Woodall has been consistent all year, and the consistency paid off because she is now the Olympic champion. She jumped 7'10". Again, I mean, she had a series of 6'9", 6'9", 6'9", 7'10", 6'8", 6'9", just very, very consistent. And so I don't think anybody should be surprised here. Consistency at the right time is going to breed a great result, and she did just that. The men's javelin, man, Nadim, Arshad Nadim, an interesting story I heard about him. I heard that he got to the Olympics and his country was kind of supporting him all the way through the year, because he didn't have a lot of resources. And for him to come in to throw, like I saw this throw, he got all of that throw. The announcers were talking about there's a little bit of a wind here. And if you can throw the javelin up with a little bit height and velocity to it, it's going to carry. And I don't know if he heard, but that's exactly what it looked like. And again, this has to be one of the furthest throwing javelin, if not the ever. Like some of these men threw 87 meters and did not medal. So it is just incredible. You won't have to worry about being supported anymore. Pakistan going to take care of you, man. And shout out to all the rest of the men that medaled in there as well too. Men's triple jump, Diaz Fortune. He has been the furthest jumper all year. That 1808 He comes back and runs 1786. It was raining a little bit too, so things were a little bit, tricky in some ways. But what was interesting here for me was the top three athletes that medaled were all born in Cuba, but they don't compete for Cuba. Some things happen, things you got to make the best decision. But I thought that was very, very, very cool to see. So hats off to all those men. Men's high jump, Hamish Kerr, 236, gold medal. There's a lot of back and forth about this as well, too. Him and the American Shelby could have shared that gold medal, but Shelby was like, nah, we're not going to do that. And so people were saying, bro, sometimes it bites you in the back.
I'm not mad at him.
No. You said even today, you got to bet on yourself sometimes. And sometimes it works out.
Sometimes
if he would have won,
it
would have been great.
Yeah.
But either way, it kind of worked out because this is his first Olympic Games and he medaled. So just some of the field events that we wanted to highlight. As we get ready to close out the show, we thought it would be kind of cool to see, man, out of all of the games that we just saw, who's the performer? Let's start with the female performer of the meet.
I'm going to give it to Sydney. I'm not going to say much. I already gave my spiel about taking her for granted and what she's doing when we're never going to probably see again in this event of the 400-meter hurdles. I just want to give her flowers, man. We see you. We appreciate you. And what she came back and did in the 4x400 meter, the lead that she gave Team USA was absolutely incredible. Going home with 2 golds. Another world record. Hats off to her. Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone is my female performer of the meet.
And that's never a bad choice. World record, all that she can do. But for me, I'm going a different way. Like my mind wants to say Jillian, but I'm actually going to go with Sifan Hassan. And I say that because, okay, how many medals did she have?
So she has a bronze in the 5K, a bronze in the 10K, and a gold in the marathon.
Okay. I knew it. I just wanted you to tell the people. A marathon. So after all of the heats and after all of the stuff that she did to get into the finals on the track, she goes away from the track in the road and comes. And not only does she win, but she runs an Olympic record and gets the gold medal. This is a once in a life generation athlete as well, too.
Yeah.
To me, I felt like she didn't even really train for the 5K like that. She just came from road race and said, I think I'm going to try to, the Olympics is here. Let me just hop in and see what I can do.
Yeah. Yeah, because you could tell her
speed was but the strength is there.
Yeah.
Showed. So I could have went Sydney. I could have went Jillian. You could even go Gabby Thomas. But for me, I'm going Sifan Hassan. I mean, that's incredible. But let's keep things going. We want to know who your female performer of the meet is. Let us know in the comment section. Though, let's go over to the male side. Who is it for you?
I'm going to stick with the 400-meter hurdles and give it to Rai. Like I said earlier, just because people expect you to win doesn't mean that you can always go out there and do it. But he did it, and then he came back and won less than 24 hours later, the 4x4 to hold off Letsile. That was beautiful. Going home with 2 gold medals. My male performer of the meet is Rai Benjamin.
Another great choice. And, again, it's one of those ones for me where, my mind also kind of wanted to go in Nadim because, man, he barely qualified for that final. And then you read about his story, and it's just like, I'm a guy that comes from, hardship and some pain, and I'm like, man, but I can't go away from, let's see, Tebogo. 3 rounds at 100, 10:01, 9:91, 9:86. Then I'm going to come back in the 2 and run 20:10, 19:9, and then 20:46. And then I'm going to do my press conference at night and come back and run the 400 from my country in the morning and run 44:36, and then come back and run 43:03. I'm done. I'm gassed. I'm cooked. He gave it his all. So for me, male performer of the meet, Letsile Tebogo. We would love to know who your male performer of the meet is. So that's it. That's part 2 of our recap show. We've been on here for an hour. It's time to go. I got the oxtails cooking today. We got to go. But we'd love to know your thoughts on this meet. What did you think about it? Did it live up to the hype? Was it underwhelming? What was your performers of the week? What stuck out to you? We want to know. Let us know in the comment section below. The Olympics is done, but we still got a couple more meets left. And we'll talk about that when it comes. We'll see you next week.
Bye.